impression, the same light, the same light. Where the same light? If it was the same light, then why at the end of the month this electric company sends me a bill? You consume so many units, so many dollars, what for? My light I purchased in the market, my switch, and you on it, I get my light. Who are you? What for you want money? He is quite correct. He is generating their electricity. It comes through the wires, gets consumed, new takes its place with such great rapidity. The old one passes away, the new takes its place, the old one passes away with such great rapidity, it gives the impression the same, the same. Another example, you cross the river. Morning you crossed the river, went to the other bank of the river, whole day you worked there, and then again you took the boat and came on this side of the river. You are under the impression, I have crossed the same river. Where the same river? Even if you take a dip in this river, you take a dip and the head above the water, second dip, head above the water, third dip, head above the water, you are under impression that I am taking dip in the same river. Where same river? Constant flow is there. The dip that you had in the river is gone. Not a single drop remains, all have gone. Second dip in a second river altogether. Third dip in a third river altogether. The morning you crossed this river by your boat, by evening it was a totally new river. And yet the impression remains the same river, the same light. How to come out of this? Certain things which are within the capacity of your sense organs, like you have got eyes and you can see things, there is a limitation for that. The flame of the lamp arising, passing, arising, passing. If you see very carefully, you can notice, yes, arising, passing, arising, passing. But the light of electricity, it arises and passes with such a great rapidity beyond your eyes' capacity. The flow of the river, yes, it is flowing. The second dip is a new river. Third dip is a new river. If you give attention, you can understand. But how to understand? This fellow who took the first dip is gone. Second dip is taken by altogether a new person. Third dip is taken by altogether a new person. How to understand that? You don't have that faculty to experience it. If one has not practiced Vipassana, then this Goenka, who started talking about half an hour ago, will remain under the impression, the same Goenka. I am the same Goenka. The same Goenka was yesterday. The same Goenka was 1 year ago, or 10 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 67 years ago, same Goenka. Where is same Goenka? Every moment this Goenka is dying, another Goenka is taking birth. Every moment this Goenka is dying, another Goenka taking birth. The entire physical structure made of these subatomic particles arising, passing with such great rapidity, such great rapidity. This speed creates illusion, delusion, confusion. One cannot understand the reality. Even if one accepts the reality at the intellectual level, because the scientists have said so, the entire material world, there is no solidity, it's only wavelets, wavelets, wavelets. The modern scientist says so. Well, an enlightened person like a Buddha has said so. There is no solidity anywhere, just wavelets, entire universe, mind and matter, nothing but wavelets, vibration, vibration. Because you have got faith in them and you accept, that doesn't help. You have to experience yourself. And this is what was done by him to reach the final goal of full liberation. And that is what everyone has to do to understand the real change taking place. Every moment changing, changing, changing. With great rapidity, changing. A child is born. You see the child, beautiful, tender. You see the child after 10 years, a big change has come. And you see with the interval of 20 years, big change, 30, 40, 60, 80 years, unbelievable. The same child, how he became like this. And how he became like this. Not that at the end of every 10 years, he went to bed and some God Almighty passed a magic wand over his body and he got a changed person. Nothing doing. Every moment change is taking place, every moment changing, 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 decaying, decaying, growing, decaying, growing, decaying. This is the law of nature. This law of nature, if one accepts at the intellectual level or at the devotional level, does not help at all. It is just an intellectual pleasure, intellectual entertainment, or a devotional pleasure, a devotional entertainment. It won't help. But at the actual level, when one starts experiencing it, it makes such a big difference, such a big difference. And this is what he did. What you have started doing is just a very tiny step, is a long path. One has to investigate so much deep inside to understand what this material structure is, what this mind is, and what interaction is going on at a very deep level. And this made him fully enlightened. Dividing, dissecting, disintegrating, dissolving, he reached the stage where he came to the ultimate truth pertaining to the matter, the ultimate truth pertaining to the mind, the ultimate truth pertaining to the mental contents, the mental concomitants which arise with the mind. And then it transcended that and experienced something which is beyond mind and matter. For the matter, dividing, dissecting, he came to the tiniest subatomic particle of which the entire body is made, the tiniest, to which he gave a name, Kalapa. Kalapa means a unit, a material unit, tiniest material unit which cannot be further separated. He called it Atta Kalapa. Atta means 8. 8 things joined together make this unit, and these 8 things cannot be separated. They are always together. The 4 basic elements like earth, water, fire, air, and each one has its own characteristic, joined together 8. These characteristics are more important, and that can be experienced. When one reaches to that stage, then it becomes easy to understand the mind also at the ultimate level. This is the reality of the mind at the ultimate level. This is the reality of every mental content at the ultimate level. And this made him understand what is this mind-matter phenomena. With such a great rapidity, all wavelets, but with such a great rapidity, things arise, pass. He says, by the time I snap my fingers, or by the time I blink, this tiny little subatomic particle arises, passes, trillions of times. A Western scientist also has come to the same conclusion. A professor in Berkeley University, he was studying, trying to understand how this atom is working. This was clear to the scientists of the West a century ago, that there is no solidity in the material world, mere wavelets. He was eager to know, very inquisitive to know the tiniest particle, how many times it arises and passes in 1 second. And to find out that, he invented a instrument which he very rightly called bubble chamber. Like bubble, it arises, passes. And with the help of this bubble chamber, he could find out and then announce that this tiniest atom, it arises and passes in 1 second, 22 zeros after 1. 22 zeros after 1. And here another scientist in the East says that by the time I snap my fingers or blink my eyes, trillions of times it arises and passes. They came to the same conclusion. And yet what a great difference. Quite a few students from this part of the world, California, Berkeley, they came to India, took courses when they heard about this professor, and he is a very renowned professor. He passed away recently, and he got Nobel Prize, and Nobel Prize is not given to any Tom, Dick and Harry. Somebody must have invented something which people didn't know. So he was a very famous man. So out of inquisitiveness, they went, curiosity to see this person who reached the stage which an enlightened person reached, and they found him a bundle of misery, full of tension. Why he could not come out of his misery? Why he could not come out of his tension? Whereas somebody coming to the same conclusion got free from all miseries, because bhavana maya panya was missing. He had come to this conclusion with the help of his apparatus, his instrument, the bubble chamber. He has great faith in this bubble chamber. He has great faith in his own intellect, and he says it is so. But this person is not using any scientific instrument or apparatus, only his experience, direct experience, and this makes all the difference. When you go deep inside to understand the reality of your mind and matter interaction, it is not for the sake of curiosity, not to quench the thirst of your inquisitiveness. It is, the purpose of it is to come out of the ignorance and see how out of ignorance you keep on generating impurity after impurity, defilement after defilement, negativity after negativity, and you become a bundle of misery. To change that habit pattern, one has to go deep inside and experience the truth. The first truth which one starts experiencing is the truth of change. Every moment a change is taking place. The entire mind matter phenomena constantly changing. And that is understood at the experiential level. Everything is changing. There is nothing throughout the physical structure or the mental structure, as you keep on dividing, dissecting, disintegrating, dissolving, nothing which you can say this is the hard core and now this remains permanent. You keep on exploring. If there is any hard core, let me see, let me experience it, and this is what the Bhavanamaya Panya will do. The anicca, the change, is experienced now. The change is not accepted merely at the level of intellect, not accepted merely at the level of devotion, at the actual level. Change. Initially, you come across very solidified, intense, apparent reality. This body, so solidified, made of bones and flesh, etc., etc. And what you feel on the body, all solidified, intense, like pressure, like heaviness, like numbness, like heat, like pain, all solidified and intensified. As you started observing here, you will start observing things throughout the body, and you observe objectively. Not that all the time you will observe objectively, it takes time, but you start working on that. Few moments you get when you observe really objectively. And as you are observing objectively, you find the mind is becoming sharper and sharper. And as the mind becomes sharper and sharper, it starts experiencing subtler and subtler reality. The intensity, through the intensities, through the solidity, you start piercing, penetrating, and you start experiencing subtler reality, till one reaches the experience where the entire material structure, the entire mental structure is nothing but vibrations arising, passing. Bubbles arising, passing, wavelets arising, passing, constant flow, constant flux. Then you are experiencing the truth of impermanence. It is not merely an intellectual game. It is not merely an emotional or devotional game. It's the actual experience of the truth, that what you experience within the framework of the body is a constant flux, a constant flow, every moment changing. Then the madness goes away. Madness of what? Madness of attachment towards this physical structure, madness of attachments towards this mental structure, the combination of the two. Something which is so ephemeral. What purpose will be served by developing craving towards it, developing aversion towards it? And one learns how to observe equanimously. Old habit pattern was to react. This very mind matter phenomena generating this sensation or that sensation, pleasant or unpleasant, and a reaction is there, craving or aversion, you lose the balance of the mind, you become very agitated. And now this first part of wisdom, anicca, will become clearer and clearer at the experiential level. As one develops this part of the wisdom, anicca, everything changing, another part of wisdom will raise its head. Dukkha, oh misery. Initially when you start practicing, observing the reality about yourself, coming across very solidified, intensified realities, the sensations which are very painful, heavy, numbness, pressure, tension, etc. Obviously, it is misery. So miserable. You don't like it, you want to get rid of it, and it is there. But you are trained to observe. However misery it is, you just observe. However unpleasant it is, just observe, just observe. And people reach the stage, sometimes on the 7th day or 8th day or 9th day or 10th day, or maybe in 2 courses or 3 courses, they reach a stage where all the solidity gets dissolved and there is a very free flow of subtle vibrations throughout the body, energy flowing throughout the body, and it looks so pleasant, so pleasant. Ah, wonderful. This is bliss. This is ecstasy. I was looking for it. Now I got my goal. And you develop so much of attachment to it. Ah, I got it. I got it. Without understanding this is equally impermanent, changing, changing. Morning you had a wonderful experience of a flow of energy throughout the body. And afternoon it changed. And you again have pains and heaviness and numbness. And you come to your teacher or your assistant teacher and say, oh, wonderful, morning meditation was so wonderful, and now it is so bad. You become so miserable because you developed attachment to something which was so impermanent. Then it becomes so clear that not only unpleasant sensations are misery, the pleasant sensations are also misery, because there is a tendency of you are developing attachment to it. And every attachment is synonymous to misery. You are bound to feel miserable because whatever you are attached to is not permanent, it is impermanent, bound to change sooner or later. This becomes clearer and clearer. The dukkha, not the dukkha of the pains, etc., but the dukkha of even pleasant sensations in your body. The third part of Panya will raise its head. It will become so clear. Anatta. No I, no mine. It appears to be so. There is a I in me. It appears to be so. This is mine. But then as you proceed further, at the experiential level, not at the intellectual level, it becomes so clear. What is I? You explore the entire field of matter within you, the entire field of mind, the combination of the two, and nothing but wavelets, 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 bubbles, bubbles, bubbles arising, passing. Now which bubble is I? This bubble is I, and it is gone away, so I am gone away. Which wavelet? Which wavelet is I? It is gone, so I am gone. Which wavelet? Oh, for conventional purpose, we have to use these words, I, mine, you, yours. Actually, there is no I, no mine. You have to use these words. Otherwise, how can you say this mass of bubble talking to that mass of bubble? It doesn't work. You have to use these words, I, mine, you are, he, she, etc. That is apparent truth. It appears to be so. This is also true. But the ultimate truth, the real truth is nothing but wavelets, wavelets, vibrations, vibrations, bubbles, a senseless. This anatta. If there is really I, or if there is really mine, something mine, I must have possession over it. What possession I have got? What possession I have got? At the age of about 40, one looks the face in the mirror